Our senior 1 students, you're welcome to lesson 2, and in this lesson we are going to look at life processes. In the first lesson we defined biology as a study of living things or living organisms, and we also looked at some of the branches of biology like physiology, botany, zoology, and others, and I hope you still remember what those terms mean. So today we want to look at the processes of life, what we call the life processes. So members, in order to decide whether what we are observing is living or non-living, a set of characteristics that are called the life processes are used. When you look at objects around you, for you to be able to judge whether that object is living or non-living, there are things that we use, to see whether things are living or not, and they are called life processes. So in this section, you will find out the different life processes that we are going to look at. And these life processes are common to all organisms, and in some cases they are called characteristics of living things. So in some books, instead of finding the words life processes, you will find characteristics of living things. It means the same. So we are going to look at life processes or characteristics of living things. There are majorly 7, the 7 major ones that exist or that are exhibited by all living things, and we call them universal life processes. It means all living things show those life processes or those characteristics, and we are going to start looking at them one by one. To begin with, the first one there is nutrition, sometimes called feeding. Now, what is feeding or what is nutrition? This one should be very common in you. You should be knowing what it means. So basically, it is a process by which living things obtain nutrients that support metabolic or biochemical processes in their bodies. The way organisms obtain nutrients to support their lives is what we call nutrition or feeding. Some organisms obtain food from other organisms. They have to feed on other organisms. For example, if you ate rice today, you're eating a product from plants. You ate meat, you are eating a product from another animal. So that is what we call nutrition, obtaining nutrients. However, some organisms make their own food. They do not depend on other organisms. So, for example, the green plants carry out what we call photosynthesis, and they are able to make their own what? Their own food. So in any case, the process by which organisms obtain the nutrients to support their life processes is what we are calling what? Nutrition. So thank you very much for that. The other process or the other life process is what we call respiration. Let's pronounce together. 1, 2, 3, we go. Respiration. So what is respiration? Members, what is respiration? This is basically the breakdown of food to release energy in the body. Remember, every day we use energy. What do you use your energy for? After waking up, what do you do? Probably you go and wash plates, you go to the garden, others wake up and go and read their books. All those activities and many more require energy. So where do you get this energy from? There is a process called respiration that takes place in your body that produces energy that you need for carrying out body activities, thinking, working, moving, and so on. So that is another life process, and this process is carried out by all the living organisms. They all respire to get energy. Our third process here is what we call excretion. Is what we call what? Excretion. And members, what is excretion? So this is a process by which the waste products are removed from the body. For example, whenever a body is like a factory and there are many processes that take place, producing good things, of course, that the body needs. But also, in the process, other harmful substances are also produced. And those bad things that are in the body should be removed. So the body has a process of removing them. And that process is what we call excretion. So what are some of those products that must be removed from the body? Which products do you remove from your body every day? One of them is urine. When you got urinate, you remove urine. So in urine there is a harmful product called urea. Sometimes when you breathe out, you're removing a gas called carbon dioxide, which is not needed in the body. So the process by which the body removes harmful waste products from the body, or waste products from the body, is what we call excretion. And it's a life process which is carried out by all living organisms. Who can guess the next life process? Yes, guess the next life process. Wow, you guessed it right. It's reproduction. And what is reproduction? This is the ability of an organism to give rise or to produce a new organism or offspring. So when organisms produce young ones or new young ones into the environment, they are called, that's what we call reproduction. And reproduction takes place in all living organisms. And reproduction is important because it enables increase in number of organisms. Imagine if there was no reproduction, we all wouldn't be there. So it's a very good life process that organisms must undergo to give rise to. As you can see that young one coming out of an egg in the process of what? Reproduction there. Then we have the next one is movement. Great. All of us have been moving, at least from one place to the other, or you move part of your body. It's vital and it's one of the life processes. This is the ability of an organism to transfer its body or part of its body from one place to another. They move. Why do they move? Why do you move from one place to another? Or why do you move your body part? Maybe to look for food, to look for water. Yes, you have seen animals moving to the river to look for water. Others look for shelter. You have seen birds flying to look for their nests. Others look for mates. Others to run away from predators. So there are many reasons why organisms move. But in any case, movement is very important and is carried out by all living organisms. We also have another term which is related to movement called locomotion. It's when an organism moves its whole body from one place to another. So movement can be moving part of the body or moving the whole body from one place to another. But locomotion particularly is when an organism moves the whole body from one place to another. For example, you walk from home to school or from home to the market. That one is called locomotion. But when you move your hand up, down, that one is called movement. When you blink your eyes, that's part of movement. So let me ask, what happens to the plants? What can they do? Is it movement or locomotion? So when you look at plants very well, you realize that plants cannot locomote. If you see plants moving from one place to another in your village, you better migrate from that village. If you meet plants on the way, riding by or moving on the way from one place to another, then that is abnormal. Otherwise, we wouldn't expect plants to locomote. But they can move. They can move their branches from one point to another. Yes, when the whole plant is in a fixed position, the branches can move. For example, when wind blows, the branches can move. So that one is movement. So I hope we can differentiate now between movement and locomotion. So what is uniform for all living organisms is movement. All living organisms move, but some of them do not locomote. Some of them do not what? Locomote, but all of them move. Great. So let's move to the sixth life process, and that's growth. And growth is a permanent increase in size of an organism. So when an organism increases in size permanently without reversing the size, we would say that the organism has grown. And usually after growing, then development starts. Development is when the tissues and cells and organs form or specialize to begin performing different functions in the body. That one is called development. But first growth takes place and then development follows. So you can see that plant there, the stages of development, growth. The other life process is irritability or sensitivity. It's a process or the ability of an organism to respond to the changes in the environment. To respond, for example, to light, to respond to coldness, and so on. To respond to heat, and so on. That one is called irritability. For example, if you stepped on fire, what would happen? You'd have to jump off. It means you are responding to the environment. When it is very hot, what do? You move to the shade. So that one is when it's very cold. What do? You put on a sweater. So those ones are responses to environmental conditions. So members, the life processes we have talked about are those ones. There are 7. And I know at least you remember some of them. And I want you to remember them. And as you remember the life processes, I want us to do this assignment here. Look at the 2 pictures there, figure A and figure B. So after observing them, can you identify what's happening? So which one of them is not a life process? One of them is a life process and one is not a life process. Is it in figure A or figure B? So that's assignment number 1. Identify which one is a life process, and then after identifying, give a reason why you think it is a life process or a reason why you think it's not a life process. So I want you to do that assignment. Figure A and figure B. The first question is identify which of them is a life process and then give reasons why you call it a life process or why the other one is not a life process. So you respond to that and then send me your responses on my inbox. Then we continue interacting. That's assignment 1. Assignment 2, I have given you pictures. You're going to see in the next slide a number of pictures, and I want you to study them carefully. After studying them, looking at them, then identify the life processes which are shown in each picture and state the importance of that life process to living organisms. So you're just going to look at the pictures, and then after looking at them, you can name the process that you are seeing, and then after which, why is that life process or how is it important to living organisms? So we have picture 1, we have picture 2, can you identify the life process? Picture 3, what's happening? Which life process is that? Picture 4, which life process? Picture 5, and then we have 6 and 7. After identifying the life processes, then you give reasons or the importances of those life processes to living organisms. Let me give you 1 minute to look at them and do the assignment. Okay, I know you have done the assignment well. I would want to see those answers here on this table. Picture 1, what life process is that? Then what is the importance of that life process? Picture 2, picture 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So that would be great. Please do that and send me your responses. I want to encourage you to continue staying at home until it is safer for us to go back to school. We shall continue learning. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel for more content like this. Be blessed, stay at home.